কলি কুকুরা কদন যদি চাও হে কলি কুকুরা কদন যদি কলিযুগ পাবন কলি ভয় নাশন শ্রী সচি নন্দন গাউ হে গদাধর মাদন নিতায়ের প্রাণ ধন অদ্বৈতের প্রপূজিত গৌরা গদাধর মাদন নিতায়ের প্রাণধন অদ্বৈতের প্রপূজিত গৌরা গদাধর নিমাই বিশ্বম্বর শ্রীনিবাস ঈশ্বর ভক্ত সমূহ চিত চোরা নিমাই নদিয়া শশধর মায়াপুর ঈশ্বর নাম প্রবর্তন সুর নদিয়া শশধর মায়াপুর ঈশ্বর নাম প্রবর্তন সুর গৃহজন শিক্ষক নাসিকুল নায়ক মাধব রাধা ভাব পুরা গৃহজন সার্বভৌম শোধন গজপতি তারণ রামানন্দ পোষণ বীর সার্বভৌম শোধন গজপতি তারণ রামানন্দ পোষণ বীর রূপানন্দ ভর্ধন সনাতন পালন হরিদাস মোদক বীর রূপানন্দ ব্রজরস ভাবন দুষ্টমত সাতন কপটি বিগতান কাম ব্রজরস ভাবন দুষ্টমত সাতন কপটি বিগতন কাম শুদ্ধ ভক্ত পালন শিষ্ট জ্ঞান তারণ ছল ভক্তি দূষণ রাম কলি যুগ পাবন কলি ভয় নাশন শ্রী সতী নন্দন গাউ হে কলি যুগ পাবন কলি ভয় নাশন শ্রী সতী নন্দন গাউ হে
So, we'll get you a translation for that nice bhajan. It's by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur from Kalyana Kalpataru. The translation is, if you want to be rid of the menace of the dog-like personality of Kali, if you want, then just sing the glories of the beautiful son of Mother Sachi, Sachinandan. He is the savior of the Kali Yuga Pavana, and he is the destroyer of all fear caused by the age of quarrel, Kali Boyanashana. Lord Chaitanya maddens Gadadhar Pandit with his love, Gadadhar Madana, and he is the treasure of the life of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Nityayara Pranadhan. The fair-complexioned Lord, Gaura, is the most worshipable object of Sri Advaita Acharya, Advaitara Prapujita. He is affectionately called Nimai by his mother due to being born under a neem tree, and he has been named Vishwambar, the holder of the universe, by his grandfather. He is the only Lord of Srivas Pandit, Srinivas Ishvara, and he steals the hearts of all the assembled devotees, Bhakta Samuha Chitta Chora. Lord Chaitanya is the moon over the town of Nadia Shashadar, the Lord of Sri Mayapur Dham, Mayapur Ishvara, and the propagator of his own holy name, Nama Pravartana, He is saintly in behavior, Sura, and he is the instructor of householders. Grihi Jana Shikshak. He is the hero of those who are in the renounced order, Nyasi Kula Nayaka, and he is the husband of the goddess of fortune, Madhava. And he is overflowing with the ecstatic sentiments of Srimati Radharani, Radha Bhava Pura. Lord Chaitanya is the corrector and purifier of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Shodhana, and the deliverer of King Prataparudra, Gajapati Tarana, and the source of nourishment for Srila Ramananda Roy, Ramananda Poshana. He is a great hero, Vira. He increases the ecstasy of Srila Rupa Goswami, Rupananda Vardhana, and he maintains and protects Srila Sanatan Goswami, Sanatan Palana, and he gladdens Haridas Thakur, Haridasa Modana. He is very grave, Dhira. Lord Chaitanya meditates on the transcendental mellows of Brajadam, Brajarasa Bhavana. He is the destroyer of all wicked mentalities, Dushna Mata Shatana. And he crushes the cheating propensity of pretending devotees, Kapati Vigatana. He is as beautiful as Cupid, Kama. He maintains and protects his pure devotees, Shuddha Bhakta Palana, and he condemns dry speculative knowledge, Shushka Jnana Tardana. He smashes pretentious and hypocritical devotion, Chala Bhakti Dushana, and he is the reservoir of pleasure, Rama. Jai Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Homa Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarane Panchakalpatrubhascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today is very auspicious day. Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jatane Palanakari. These festival days are wonderful days for increasing our devotion. So we had I read on something, I think Pran was giving some class the other day, he was giving some challenge. I saw again online last night, something about how we know, first of all, what we're here for is we're worshiping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So who is this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? First thing to know, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very beginning, not right in the beginning, but second chapter, he says that Siddhanta Balya Chitte Karana Alasa Iha Haite Krishna Lagi Sudrida Manasa. So Krishna recommends that Bhajati Mam, that we should worship Krishna with full Dhridavrata. That is, he called, Rupa Goswami recommends Nishchaya.
Determination.
Huh?
Determination.
Determination, yes, determination. That is determination. So he says, Nakara alasa. Alasa means lazy. Shouldn't be lazy in this matter. One has to take the endeavor, because everyone wants to hear pastimes. We like to hear all these pastimes and stories. This is the nature of our mentality in Kali Yuga, and therefore Lord Chaitanya came and performed so many wonderful pastimes. And these pastimes are the nourishment of the devotees, just like one is nourished by eating regularly. We have to eat regularly to maintain our health. So devotees have to hear regularly the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. But this is described, Siddhanta Balaya Chitte na Karalasa. The Siddhanta, we have to understand what is the actual personality. Who is that person, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So that was some challenge. What is that? Who is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So there are some evidences there, of course. In spiritual life, we have evidence coming from 3 different sources that is described at Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Guru, what is that? Sadhu Guru Shastra. Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya, Chitte Te Kare Aikya. That is described. So Sadhu, this Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada, of course, he's given us this Krishna consciousness movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shastra, there's the big list of Shastra Praman. We have this Praman. We're answering your challenge. Shastra Praman is there. You can have big lists in the 2nd chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. 2nd chapter, text 22. There's a very big list, different Shastra Pramans. One or two we want to relate to repeat today. Of course, many of you are familiar with the 11th canto. It's described that Krishna Varnam, Tusha Krishnam, Sangopangashtra Parshadam, Jagyai Sankirtana Prayer, Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. That is described by Karabhajana to Nimi. That people who have intelligence, they should worship the Supreme Lord. That verse is not in this verse, but this purport. So, I don't see it here. There's some other very nice verses that also from the 11th canto, chapter 5. Okay. There's a couple verses is there. But one verse particularly I want to give this. Chakta sudustyaja surepshita raja lakshmim dharmishta arya vachasa yadagadharanyam mayamargam dayate epshita anvadavad vande mahapurushate charanaravindam. It says, translation is, we offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord, upon whom we should always meditate. He left his householder life, leaving aside his eternal consort, whom even the denizens of heaven adore. He went into the forest to deliver the fallen souls who were put into illusion by material energy. Another verse, actually, Prahlad Maharaj, he speaks also that when he's offering his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, he offers his prayers to the Lord that Chana Kalo Yad Abhavas Tridyugota Sa Tvam. It says that you appear, first part of the verse is how the Lord appears in so many different species of life, but in the Kali Yuga he comes, is described, Chana Kalo, that in the Kali Yuga you come not as a personality of Godhead, but in a covered form. Chana means covered. Chana Kalo Yadabhavas Tridyugota Satvam. Therefore, sometimes you're called Tridyuga, or one who appears in 3 yugas. So, as I mentioned here, many verses are there. One more there is from the Vayu Purana. It says, Kalo Sankirtanarambe Bhavishyami Sachishuta. In the age of Kali, when the Sankirtan movement is inaugurated, I shall descend as the son of Mother Sachi Devi. So we have Sadhu Shastra Guru. Our spiritual master has given us these all information of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's one other interesting So I remember years ago, many years ago, we were at one great devotee's house having a program in Bombay. Sorry. Some of you, I don't know if you know him, as Nathji. He was a very nice devotee in Bombay. He made some nice, he did so many great services. Last thing he gave for Temple of the, in Mayapur. He had his son, I think his son at that time, maybe he was 10, 12 years old. I don't know, I'm not very, because that was long ago, 35, 40 years ago probably. So my memory is not that good, but I remembered the incident because it was memorable, that he had his son describe how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He gave some proof. We have some information from Parashar Muni. What is the definition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Do you know what that definition? That is the 6 opulences. The opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That wealth, strength, beauty, knowledge, fame, and renunciation. Aishvaryasya shriyasya viryasya yashasya shriya. So he had his son, that time, I think not even a teenager, he was told him that you can explain all of these different, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu possessed these opulences. Srila Prabhupada, there's a nice recording, video recording, how that you can claim that you have some money, I can claim I have some money, but one who can claim he has all the money, he can be God, he can be claimed to be God. It was a very nice lecture was there. So we have these 6 opulences, and we can see 500 years ago, this is historical incidents that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed these 6 opulences. So we're going to open up to you all, and we'll start with wealth. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his wealth. Maybe that's the toughest one, I don't know. Well, all right, I'll start with this wealth, because later on when Lord Chaitanya talked with Ramananda Roy, he said that, he asked Ramananda Roy, what is the wealthiest person? Who is the wealthiest person? Can you tell us? Who is the wealthiest person? He says that Radha Krishna Prema Jnana Se Badadhani. That one who has devotion, one who has love for Radha and Krishna, he is the most wealthy person. So who can be more wealthy than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He's even giving that. He's so magnanimous. Namo Mahavananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. He's giving Krishna Prem freely to the unqualified souls of Kali Yuga. So strength, how about strength? Someone can tell how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his strength? Anyone? Ram, help us out. Yes, Seshaprabhu. He pushed the Rath cart with his head, thank you. That's the only one I can think of. I mean, I remember this incident was going on, but I don't remember what he gave evidences like that. But anyway, that's the evidence that I remember, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Rath cart, we have the Rath cart. I wasn't prepared for the dressing today. I'm planning to speak more about the youth, the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his youth as a scholar. But here the Rath cart was there, and one time it stopped. Lord Jagannath stopped his Rath cart. This sometimes happens, and so many people were pulling cart, and the cart wouldn't move. And the king of Orissa, he came and brought his elephants. He brought his elephants to push the cart. They still couldn't get the cart to move. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went behind the cart and just with his head just pushed the cart, and it started moving along. So the strength. What about beauty? Have some beauty examples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty? Prakashananda Saraswati. Even the atheists, even the impersonalists, yes, even the impersonalists who had given up everything, material enjoyment. They've tried, at least. So they were attracted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then we have knowledge. Nimai Pandit. Yes, what did he do as Nimai Pandit? Keshava Kashmiri. He defeated Keshava Kashmiri, who was Digvijay. Defeated the whole country practically, this Digvijay. And also Sarvabhauma. Sarvabhauma was a very celebrated scholar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Again, Kashi, sannyasis also were there. How about fame? Fame, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's fame? We're still talking about it.
People would follow him and they would pick up grass after his feet and put it on their head.
People were following and they'd make big holes wherever he went, yeah. Vidyavachaspati's house. Millions of people were coming. They were crossing the Ganga, and they somehow or other they came across. And what about the verse where he giving his prediction? Sarvatra prachara haibi maranam. Prativityachi. Throughout the whole world, his name would be discussed, chanted. And renunciation, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. That verse is there. We just Jakta Sudusjaja Surepita Raja Lakshmyam. That what is the meaning?
Sovereignty over the goddess of fortune. You want opulence.
Surepshita.
All the demigods want it.
Yes, Raja Lakshmyam. That he gave up. Jakta Sudusjaja. His followers also, we have that same times, sometimes that verse is confused. Jakta Turnamasesham Mandalapati Srinim Sadat Tuchavat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers, the 6 Goswamis, they did the same. So this is the answer for your challenge of how we accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya, and we have also historical proof that how he exhibited his 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, as I mentioned, I want to speak something about the youth pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a youth. The pastimes, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on this day, 536 years before? And one nice verse is there, his pastime when he appeared, that Akalanka Gaurachandra Dila Darshan Sakalanka Chandra Arakon Prayojan, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Akalanka means what is it? Contamination or dirt, or Akalanka means without any kind of blemish. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared. Akalanka Gaurachan Dila Darshan. He given this darshan, his appearance. Therefore, Sakalanka, that with this blemish is there, the moon, Sakalanka Chandra. Kon Prayojan, what is the use of such a moon that has the blemishes there? Therefore, the eclipse was there, and on that occasion, all the devotees, not only the devotees, everyone was taking bath in the Ganga, chanting the holy names of the Lord. And at that time, Lord Chaitanya took his birth. So there's also, we have some other pramans are there for his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that at the time of his birth, his horoscope is mentioned not only in Chaitanya Charitamrita but in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Both places they mention Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's horoscope, how he was, the stars were aligned in perfect arrangement to prove that this is the Supreme Lord. And this Nilambara Chakravarti, the father of Mother Sachi, he was very astonished by seeing this chart, and all the auspicious symptoms were there. He could see in the body of the Lord all the different auspicious symptoms of a great personality. We just finished up the chapter 19 in the Srimad Bhagavatam a couple of weeks ago, and it's described how Shukadev Goswami, when he came in the assembly of sages, everyone immediately by his bodily symptoms, they could understand that he was a great personality. They all stood up and offered their respects, and he was given the post, he was given the seat of honor, simply by that they could understand by this physiognomy, by his bodily symptoms. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also displayed these bodily symptoms are there. Ajambu Lambito Bujo, Ajanu Lambito Bujo, his hands reaching to his knees, and all the markings on the feet, how his, that's all described. So Nilambara Chakravarti therefore gave him that name, Vishvambar. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not, he was actually preceded. Sati Devi gave first birth to 8 daughters who all passed away, but he had one older brother, Vishwarup. Vishwarup is of course, none other than Nityananda Prabhu, expansion of Nityananda Prabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes some things about how he used to engage in so much childhood mischief, as Krishna used to steal butter and do so many other activities in his childhood. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also performed so much mischief in his childhood, but whenever his brother was around, Vishwarup, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would give up that mischief. Vishwarup, of course, he was a very great scholar. He used to attend the meetings of Advaita Prabhu, because we hear from the biographers how at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was prayed to, he was called by Advaita Prabhu because of the godless situation in the society at that time. No one was interested in this, in Krishna consciousness, what we call Krishna consciousness. They were all engaged in so many different types of fruitive activities. The only type of religious activities they had were the marriage of their daughters, or sometimes if they didn't have daughter, they had dolls or pets that they would have marriages for, so that they could have. And even when they because Navadvip was a great seat of learning. They had great, so many schools were there, but the scholars, even they taught Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they didn't explain devotional service. So therefore this Advaita Prabhu, he prayed for the Lord to advent, because he found that this was the only possibility for any relief from this godless civilization. We can have similar thoughts nowadays, how things have become so godless, and without the mercy of the Lord, there's no hope for the godless civilization of this Kali Yuga. So Vishwarup, he used to attend these meetings. Advaita Prabhu and the devotees, so many other senior devotees were there, Sadashiva, Srivas, and they used to meet together and discuss devotional service. So Vishwarup would also come there, and his association was very much relished by the devotees. But when Vishwarup came a little bit older, they thought, this Jagannath Mishra and his thought that they should get him married so that he wouldn't because devotional service, they had the devotees were there. They were afraid that he might become renounced and give up this idea of family life like that. So, of course, Vishwarup, when he found out that his parents were arranging his marriage, he did take sannyas. He left home, took sannyas, and there was a great lamentation amongst the devotees, because when Vishwarup left, the devotees, they lost his association, even though he was just a young boy at that time, a young man, whatever. And Advaita, he tried to pacify the devotees that don't worry, very soon you'll get the association of this, the Krishna association will be there, and the people will become given some opportunity for developing their Krishna consciousness. He said, I guarantee you this, that this was, he had some understanding. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was Chanavatar. So even though when Advaita Prabhu pacified the devotees in this way, they all began chanting, Hari, Hari, Hari. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time, he was playing outside with his friends. This was inside the house. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he heard this, he went inside and he said, and they asked him, he said, what are you doing here? He said, you called me. He said, what? So, but still, by the influence of the Lord's illusory potency, Yogamaya, he wasn't understood. So many times that happened. Previously, he was also called by the Brahmin mendicant. So, how much time do we have? Brahmin mendicant was there that came to the house of Jagannath Mishra and cooked. He offered the food to the Lord, his deity, and Lord Chaitanya came and ate. And he said, oh no, this young child has eaten my foodstuffs. He said, Jagannath Mishra pacified him, said, no, don't worry, you cook again. So again he cooked. And again he made his offering to his Lord, and Lord Chaitanya came and ate. And third time again. And he says, why are you eating all my foodstuffs that I'm offering to the Lord? He said, you called me, what can I do? So, this way, so many pastimes were there. Lord Chaitanya performed so much mischief on the banks of the Ganges, like. So, after Vishwarup took sannyas, Jagannath Mishra, he became a little bit more concerned. He said that this son, because he had 8 daughters that died shortly after their birth. Then he had Vishwarup. Then he had Chaitanya, Nimai. And this Vishwarup, he took sannyas. And again, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was both of these boys, Vishwarup and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also Nimai Pandit, he became very well educated immediately. He learned all the alphabet and how to make all the conjuncts and everything. So Jagannath Mishra, he was concerned. He said that this other boy, he will also become very learned, and he'll give up this idea of having family life. He'll take sannyas. So therefore, I think we should stop him from studying. He told Nimai that I don't want you to continue with your studies. You should stop going to school, stop your studies. So Lord Chaitanya stopped, and then his childhood mischief became doubled and tripled, greatly increased. He performed so much mischief on the bank of the Ganges, taking the offerings of the girls that were offering to their Shiva for a good husband, and Lord Chaitanya would play with them in different ways, and the Brahmins that were off making their oblations, Lord Chaitanya would spit water in their face and like that. And then he sat on the pots, the discarded pots that were used for cooking. So when Sati Devi heard that he was sitting on these dirty pots, Lord Chaitanya had become covered with the black soot, just like Indra Nilamani. And that's a blue sapphire, which reminded everyone, of course, of Krishna. But no one understood him. No one could understand. Mother Sachi heard that he was sitting on these rejected pots, and she came and said, "Why are you sitting on these rejected pots? This is a dirty place." He said, "No, they're not dirty. Simply by my touch they became purified." And anyway, these pots were used for cooking for Lord Vishnu, his meals like that. So there's no question of impurity or purity. So eventually Mother Sachi, with the help of some neighbors, they got Lord Chaitanya down and took him for his bath. And Mother Sachi was very much disturbed. She said, "Well, this boy, he's not going for his studies, and this is the result. He's becoming so mischievous." Lord Jagannath Mishra, he was preaching to him that no, everything will happen by the will of providence. You're afraid he's not going to get a good wife, but this is not by his education, the result of his education. He quoted one nice verse, "Anayasena maranam vina dainyena jivanam, anaya radita govinda charanasya katam bhavet." That said, how can one die peacefully, and how can one live without disturbance if one gives up the worship of the lotus feet of Lord Govinda? So Mother Sachi, with the help of the neighbor people, they convinced Jagannath Mishra that they could send Nimai back to school. So they had this sacred thread ceremony, which was, the description is just like the sacred thread ceremony of Vamandev. It's described in the 8th canto, about how the great personalities came and gave Lord Chaitanya alms. And this way Lord Chaitanya began his studies again with Gangadas Pandit. So So shortly after that, Lord Jagannath Mishra had a dream of Lord Chaitanya dancing and chanting with so many personalities and going to Jagannath Puri as a sannyasi. He had this dream. Shortly after that, he gave up his body, and Lord Chaitanya was alone with Mother Sachi as her only son. Father, as her husband, is also gone. So he was married to Lakshmi Priya. Lakshmi Priya, this description is there. And shortly afterwards, Lord Chaitanya went to East Bengal for collecting, because he was a big scholar. So Digvijay was there. Lord Chaitanya defeated this Digvijay. So Lord Chaitanya's reputation as a great scholar spread throughout the whole Bengal. When he went to East Bengal, he got lots of more students and Dakshin donations were there. But he came back. Lakshmi Priya was unable to tolerate his separation from that time, so she departed. And Mother Sachi became very morose, so she also got Lord Chaitanya married, Nimai Pandit married again to Vishnu Priya. Shortly after we came to this pastime that we wanted to speak about, is Lord Chaitanya's his journey to Gaya. Because as a householder, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living with Vishnu Priya. Sometimes he was entertaining 20 sannyasis at a time. This is another point that sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, even though they were very poor, sometimes exhibited poverty, but still, whenever there was any need, everything was supplied. Whatever ingredients were required for their service to their guests. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was such a personality. Sometimes he was, when he was going to take bath in the Ganga, he told Mother Sachi that I want to go take bath to the Ganga. She said, "I'll bring one garland for your puja." So as soon as Lord Chaitanya said, "I will bring," he said, "You don't have it now?" He said he got so angry and he started breaking everything in the house. He broke everything in the house, and he started even hitting the house, breaking apart the house. And Mother Sachi just sat there in the corner watching all this was going on. Eventually Lord Chaitanya gave up his anger and sat there, and Mother Sachi pacified him and brought a garland and gave it to him and said, "Now you can go do your puja." But everything was immediately replaced by the will of the Lord. This is called the Yogamaya potency of the Lord. Everything became supplied. So anyway, Lord Chaitanya went out on this trip to Gaya with some students, a group of students, and on the way he got some fever. So the students, they gave so many different types of remedies. They tried different remedies, but nothing could cure his fever. Not headache, because there's, of course, he didn't have a headache because anyway there was no gopis around to give any dust for curing headache, but he had fever. So what was the relief what kind of relief he could have? So he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Now I need to drink the water that has washed the feet of a Brahman, to Brahmins." And this way he cured his fever like this, by drinking the water that had washed the feet of the Brahmins, not the ordinary caste Brahmins that we have that are unqualified, but the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described Krishna as Namo Brahmanya Devaya, that the Supreme Lord is the Lord of the Brahmins. So eventually he went there to Gaya. I don't know how much time we have. How much time do we have? A few more minutes. So Gaya is a very famous place for what do you call worshipping the forefathers, offering oblations to the forefathers. Jagannath Mishra had departed from this world, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Gaya to offer oblations on his behalf. And at Gaya, there's one hill is there with the footprints of the Lord Vishnu. So everyone that goes to Gaya, they offer oblations and worship at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu for the benefit of their forefathers. When Lord Chaitanya came there, Lord Chaitanya, we have to remember, he was at that time in the mood of a student. He was devotees in Navadvip he had many times challenged them on scholastic topics, and no one could defeat him. Everyone was thinking, oh, if this person was a devotee of Krishna, it would be so wonderful that such a personality, such a intelligent person, if he was a devotee of Krishna, he would be greatest devotee. And sometimes even Lord Chaitanya mentioned like that to them. They said, yes, by your mercy, I will become the greatest devotee. So when he came to Gaya and he saw the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu there, the Brahmins, there's so many Brahmins were there doing the puja and greeting all the guests that came there to offer oblations for their forefathers. They began to glorify the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. That these are the lotus feet of Vishnu that are worshipped by Lord Shiva. These are the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu that are served by Goddess Lakshmi. And this way, on and on, they were glorifying the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. And as Nimai Pandit, he heard the glories from these Brahmins. He started developing these ecstatic symptoms of love. He exhibited these ashtashatik vikars, these 8 symptoms of ecstatic love. And it's described there that by Vrindavan Das Thakur, Sarva Jagatera Bhagye Prabhur Gaurachandra Prema Bhakti Prakashera Karila Aramba. It says at that moment the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's whole mission became manifest. He began Prema Bhakti Prakashera, means the manifestation of his Prema Bhakti, Karila Aramba. He began at that point his manifestation of this ecstatic love, this distribution of ecstatic love. So that was the point that at Gaya, and just at that moment, who comes there is Ishwar Puri. Ishwar Puri, who is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as his guru. Of course, there's how much time we can have to talk about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. 5 minutes. We went all the way to Bombay and they said 5 minutes. They gave me for speaking. So how we can speak about the glories of Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya, there's also one place, famous place there at Gaya. Lord Chaitanya wanted to offer his oblations to his forefathers at Falgu Tirtha, Falgu River. He took some sand and he offered oblations to his forefathers with sand. You know this Falgu River? This is the Falgu Nadi. Srila Prabhupada describes this Falgu. Sometimes we talk about Falgu Vairagya. Not very proper renunciation. the Falguni River is flowing underneath the sand. It says if you pick up one handful of sand, you can see underneath there is the water is flowing there. So it's described that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually offered oblations with sand at the Falguni River. And he went home, he cooked himself his lunch, and Ishwar Puri came there, and Lord Chaitanya immediately offered him this lunch, his own lunch, and fed him by offered him his meal himself. And then he asked Ishwar Puri for initiation. Lord Chaitanya, Ishwar Puri had met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu earlier in Navadvip, and they had some discussion before. Ishwar Puri, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him for initiation, he says, what to speak of initiation, I can give you my body, my life, anything, because I understand that you are the Supreme, he said, the manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, there's so many wonderful pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyway, the beginning of Sankirtan movement started there practically, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he took initiation from Ishwar Puri, he got up one morning early, left all of his students there at Gaya, and he started for Vrindavan. The Akashvani, the Daivi, the demigods, they prayed, they offered prayers to the Lord. They said that, please don't go to Vrindavan at this time. You go back to Navadvip and begin the Sankirtan movement. So the Sankirtan movement is the external reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement, Jagyaya Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Sumerasa. He's given us this opportunity, this wonderful opportunity, if we have intelligence, Sumerasa, we can engage in the Sankirtan movement. We have opportunity through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We have wonderful festivals like they're coming up, like on Saturday, the Ratha Yatra festival is there. And maybe we should have some opportunity. Have anyone question or someone want to speak something about the pastime that they have very dear to them? Yes.
Who comes in other Kali Yugas?
Who comes in other Kali Yugas? I don't know.
Yeah, Gaura.
Gaura Narayan. I was preparing for a class and I saw some very interesting predictions. These are predictions by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I was looking in this Harmonious magazine, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur printed, and they gave two predictions from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Not directly related, but actually they are related. It says, some person imbued with the power of God will again establish the true Varnashram Dharma in accordance with the divine dispensation. That was number one. Number two, within a short time, there will exist only one sampradaya, school, in the realm of devotion, bhakti. Its name will be Sri Brahma Sampradaya. All other sampradayas will merge in this Brahma Sampradaya. I don't know if I ever heard that one before. And in Vrindavan, we were staying in Vrindavan, we had lots of opportunities. There's so many, all the different sampradayas are represented there in Vrindavan and other places. Bimal Kund is particularly I remember Lokanath Swami pointed out the different, how when we were on Parakram, all the different sampradayas are around this kund at, what is that? Kamyavan, Bimal Kund is there. And in the town of Vrindavan also, 4 sampradayas are there. This Brahma sampradaya we have, we're Brahma Madhva Gaudiya sampradaya we call now. But otherwise there's the Vishnu Swami, Ramanuja, Nimbarka sampradaya. Nimbarka sampradaya, they're always very nice chanting Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Radhe Sham, Sham, Radhe Radhe. So, what else? Huh? Finished? Everybody can chant their names. Gauranga! Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you.